So good.
I was on one of those road trips you do in your 20s, where you have about $100 in your pocket and you say, I'm going to go and drive around America. And me and my friend did that. We had an amazing time. We landed in, where did we land?
Was it Salt Lake?
Oh, we were in a bit of a state actually. We landed in San Francisco, and then, oh, it was a shocker. And then we did San Francisco, and we did some LA, and then we found ourselves in New Mexico, and then we found ourselves in Salt Lake City, heading to Moab to go to Arches National Park. And I have to say, that's an amazing, this is too low, I can't cope with this. It's the only option, isn't it? Let's face it. That's even lower. How did that work? Thank you, dear. What a couple, the dynamic duo. Arches, beautiful. This is a beautiful part of the world. Oh, and then there was a Sundance in 2006, the obligatory Sundance moment, which was hilarious, watching lots of Angelino ladies in their heels totter down the high street in Park City in snow and ice. Did you not think to bring some boots? It's good fun though.
These are my flats.
Yeah, these are Charlotte's walking shoes. Careful there, darling.
I go
Anyway.
from 5'3" to 5'10". Do you know how tall Paul is and Echo on the show?
Yeah.
We did a tweet called #Charlotte with no heels.
Going like that.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, we're all here basically for Arrow, but both of you have such a long history. I mean, Paul, you were in a huge Bollywood movie of all things, Lagan. Has anybody seen Lagan? Do we have any Bollywood fans here?
Whoa, that's nice.
Did you dance? Can you dance?
When this script came into my attention, I looked at it and I thought, good God, Bollywood film, why would, I'm not sure about that. And then I became a little more convinced about the idea, but as I was making my mind up, I thought the only way I can do this is if I am not dancing, because I don't want to ruin your film. So, yes, I made sure that the villainous character that I was playing, the bad guy, he didn't dance. It was a terrible thing for the film.
Can you dance? Because I've seen you dance on set.
I can only dance to Hawaiian music and Frank Sinatra. But I'm not doing that today.
Hawaiian music?
What have I said?
Someone wants you to do it. Well, I'd like to thank you for not.
And I can only do it with a brandy in my hand as well, I'll have you know.
And then another one of my favorites is New York PD Blue, the show that you used to be on. And as I'd like to thank you for not dancing, I'd also like to thank you for giving ugly guys like myself everywhere hope, because you played the wife of Dennis Franz on that.
First of all, don't put yourself down.
I'm only kidding.
You're gorgeous, Sean.
I think I'm pretty
Let's
rad.
tell Sean how gorgeous he is. Sean, you're gorgeous. 1, 2, 3. Sean! Gorgeous!
Continue.
Carry on, Charlotte.
I was blessed and grateful to be a part of that show. I mean, it was just a beautiful show, well written, and Dennis Franz is an amazing actor, an amazing person.
But what's that got to do with me?
Sorry, I know it always goes back to you. And it was awesome, as you know, I've just said I'm 5'3", and you know, women are perceived maybe not as strong or as quick or as elitist in the forces and that kind of thing. And I really wanted to grab a hold of that role and give it as much truth as I could, and it was really fun. And you know, we got to be physical and.
Well, that show was really
Physical.
progressive in that way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Looking back, no.
Yeah, David Milch was
Yeah.
brilliant.
Sorry, I'm just muttering to myself. I just make sure that I didn't say John Barrowman or something. There we go. Because he does tend to, you know, he'll get in there, you know.
Which, you know, this kind of segues me into you two being on Arrow, and also I just want to acknowledge I love the show The River so much.
You and your friend, you the two people who watched it. Yes.
He did a show called The River that J.J. Abrams and Warren Pelly produced, like a kind of.
And Steven Spielberg, and it was going to be the big new Lost. It was going to be ABC's big new show, and you've all heard of it, haven't you? Yeah.
I thought it was better than Lost. Just putting that out there.
How long did it go?
Well, it was strange actually, because I did that. I was offered the role of Detective Lance at the time when The River was being broadcast, This is a funny little moment. The River was on, and it wasn't doing very well in its opening sort of few episodes with the ratings, and then it was the 5th episode. I had just been on the night before, and I Googled overnight ratings, The River, right? And the links that came up, it said, The River hit series. And I thought, well, that's rather strange. Has it suddenly come flying out the gate in episode 5 and now it's suddenly a hit? And when I pressed on the link, it said, The River hit series lows, da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. No one watched it, no one watched it, no one watched it. And I was laughing at this, little hilarious Hollywood sort of moment. And in that moment, my phone rang, and my agent said, Paul, I need to speak to you. And I said, hang on a minute, let me just tell you what happened, and da-da-da-da-da. And they said, well, that's probably okay, because you've just been offered the role of Detective Lance on this new show they're called Arrow. And I thought, Arrow? And at that time, of course, these comic book shows weren't really happening, you know what I mean? And I thought, well, what's going on with that then? And they were like, well, David Nutter's directing it, and they're going to make it all dark, and you've got these daughters, and there'll be lots of family stuff to get teeth into. And I thought, oh, go on then, we'll give it a whirl, see what turns out with that. And here we are, 4 years later. And we're very grateful as well. Thanks for watching it, by the way.
But, it goes to show you can have the best people in television, Spielberg, like you mentioned, or J.J. Abrams, and nothing's a sure thing. So we're really thankful every day that Arrow is so successful, and that it keeps going, and with the fan support, because it doesn't happen very often in television. I did a John Wells series. We thought it was going to be the hit of the year too. And
I did one as well with John Wells. Yeah, they all think it's going to be the hit of the year.
Which show was that, Charlotte?
That was called Trinity. It was about an Irish Catholic family in Hell's Kitchen. And Jill Clayburgh, bless her soul, played my mom.
What an actress.
Tate Donovan played my brother. And Kim Raver played my sister-in-law.
Oh, I know Kim. Yep.
Didn't she play your lover in something?
She was somebody else's lover in Lipstick Jungle.
Oh.
And wasn't she in 24 as well?
And she and I tested against each other for Lipstick Jungle. The town gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Dean Kane, who's sitting next to me out there, played my ex-lover.
Basically, she's been in bed with everybody. Charlotte's been in bed with them all. In the televisual sense, I mean, not. I'm the only one she's really slept with.
And I did a series with Peter Facinelli. He's one. I'm grateful.
You're Kevin Bacon.
She is. She's the female Kevin Bacon.
What does that mean? I don't know.
Everybody
Everybody
thinks
6
like
degrees of Kevin Bacon. He's connected to everybody. It's in more ways.
Okay, it's time to pack it in. I get it.
It is interesting. Can I just say, it's interesting because, when you do these shows over the years, everybody's hoping, of course, that you get into some big hit show and all that sort of stuff. But you kind of just have to look at it in some sense as to, just your own life and what might be enjoyable for yourself, without thinking of, well, I'll do this because it might be that, You can't really do things because you think the results might be this, that, or the other. That happened with Lagarde, I sat there going, I really want to do a Bollywood film, my career in England is happening at the moment, I've got film and television, and ooh, what's all this about? And then in the end I thought, actually, it would be great to go to India for 4 months, what an experience, somebody's going to pay for me to do it, brilliant. And that turned into India's biggest grossing film ever, and was in the Oscars, and is the reason I ended up in LA, do you know what I mean?
You're the star that you are.
Thank you, darling. And keep going. And it's the same with these television shows, you know what I mean? You can only look at them and just be like, well, that looks like something that I would enjoy doing, and if it's a hit, it's a hit. If it's not, well, you just keep going and enjoying, the thing that's in front of you at the time, as opposed to what you think it might be, because you'll just go insane if you do that, Yeah. And it only took 12 years to get to a really big hit show, so, get there in the end.
Before I open the floor up, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions out there, I'd be remiss not to mention the Dresden Files as well. And Glee. I love musicals, and I've never seen an episode of Glee. I'm sorry, so I'm going to go. I know, it's one of those shows I'm kind of saving.
How many seasons was Glee on? I mean, it was on for a long time. Where were you?
Right.
Yeah, like how many? 6?
So now I have a nice pile for when I get a cold one weekend, and I'll pound through Glee. But I wanted to ask you.
It's really strange. The girl who played my daughter on Glee, Diana Agron, who's so wonderful, she ended up in a wheelchair, and then Miss Emily on Arrow ended up in a wheelchair. A fan told me that, and I thought, I'm scared, I'm like a jinx or something.
I don't think you're a jinx, actually. Arrow's doing pretty good. You probably have something to do with that as well. So I wouldn't call yourself a jinx. But how did you get on the show? And then we'll open up to Q&A.
Well, like Paul said, at this stage in my career, I'm just grateful when my coworkers are all really nice and team players and, you know, cattiness, and we're there to support each other. Like, at the end of the day, that's what matters most to me. Along with the writing being really wonderful. You can never guess if it's going to be a hit or if it's going to be a flop. I mean, you can wait till the cows come home. That's always. So those are the things that matter most to me. And when I saw the role of Mama Smoke, I thought it could be stereotypical if I approached it in a way. It's an easy pitfalls to fall into, but what I love about her is that, you know, we can all be really eager and excited and still be optimistic even if we've been hurt and run over and have had people lie to us and screw us over. And so I love her naivete, but with the excitedness that she has, she also is really serious and is protective of her daughter, and when she needs to, she's a mother bear and no one's going to screw with her.
That
so
comes out
it's that
so
balance
well
that
in
I'm
your
really grateful
performance, too.
for.
Not
Oh,
to talk
thank
over
you.
you, I'm sorry, but I was thinking about your performance and how easy it would be for it to be incredibly cliche. And Mama Smoke does not come off as ditzy. She does.
Thank you. I mean, she does
enthusiastic
dress
is
a little, you know. I mean,
I think she dresses just fine. You know? Lance got laid, finally, that's all I want to say. Oh, what a fine choice.
When I first joined the show, there was a hashtag Get Lance Laid. I'm like, oh boy. But where Dawn is funny is like, I'll come wheeling in with my suitcase like I just flew on Southwest with a mini skirt. You know? I'm in sweats with a, you know, no makeup, and who travels like that? But you know, in Vegas, sometimes that's how people are a lot of the time. Like everything's a little bit more exemplified and that kind of thing.
Can I just say something fabulous about you?
Well, I won't stop you.
It is great working with Charlotte because it is that kind of character that, you know, could easily be very stereotyped and sort of superficial and one-dimensional, but that sort of hurt, that sort of bravado that she puts on, hiding all the hurt and the desperation underneath it, it's so great seeing that. And when you find yourself in a scene with an actor who's got that going on, and then actors that listen to each other in scenes, as this one does, that's when you get some great moments, do you know what I mean? So it's a treat working with you, my dear.
Aww.
True.
Should we make out now?
Let's make out. Just for the cameras, love. There we go, very nice.
Are you sure?
Alright, we'll have a drink later on.
I know you're single, and so am I. I'm just kidding.
We're both single.
Am I right?
A lot of weird things have started here at SLC Comic Con over the years.
Really?
So yeah.
I have something I wanted to propose to people. I was tossing and turning last night, and I thought I shouldn't do it. And I thought, well, why not? If you're a diehard fan, you're going to know the answer. And I'm going to say, whoever gets the answer right can come up and give us both a hug and a kiss, and they have to get all.
I know nothing of this, by the way, so can we discuss this first?
In fact, he texted me this morning. He's like, "So what are you going to do?" I'm like, "I'm going to do something." I did, you know, me and my emojis. I did like 3 little winks, and
hundreds of emojis.
so if you get all 4 right, then you'll come up because I see there are some microphones.
Anybody want to come up to the microphones?
And then the 4 questions will be: what number episode was it? What was the name of the episode? What set were we in?
What happened?
And who directed it?
Oh.
Oh, no, you're gonna know.
Put your phones down. So there's Googleization going on.
The only hint is gonna be a position I'm gonna get in.
My God. What is it that,
Well, the position has something to do with you, darling. So
no, I mean, but what, in what episode are you referring to?
well,
What
they need
moment?
to guess, and then I'm gonna show you.
Oh, I see. I'm not nervous.
I don't know if you can see behind the table, so
Should I be looking?
can you guys see behind here? No, not really. Okay, let's go down there.
Oh, God. Taking props and everything.
Well, I know somebody. I know you guys are
We're
gonna
doing a
get it.
Q&A, not a pantomime. We're getting paid for this.
She's a student of the method.
Just if you don't mind sitting down.
What am I doing?
So remember, it's what episode number, what was the name of the episode, what set were we in, and who directed it?
Oh my God, there's a lot
And
of
it's-
like meerkats.
And it's just,
popping
I
up.
just did that. We just did one position, and you'll see. Sit
I want a
down.
picture of this actually.
It's just a simple thing.
No, but I got the other one.
And this is all that happened.
What was I doing? What am I doing?
Relax, Paul.
I can't do real life. I need a script. Real life is scary.
What was so good about this is in real life you were freaking out.
Ooh.
I'm freaking out now.
What was it? I went like this.
Can I just get this
What are
photo?
you doing?
Even if you're not using it, just all stick your phones up in the air for a
Oh, we're
second.
getting the crowd.
There you go. That's the one, right? Let's do this one. Turn around. There you go. Let's get over. Ready? Marvelous. Okay, right, sorry, we'll carry on with the show. Charlotte Ross's show, that I've got no idea what I'm doing here. What am I doing? Is this when we were having a...
Just pretend you're depressed like Lance is a lot of the time. No, I just feel like this.
Oh, blimey. Well, the thing is, darling,
Do you know what episode that was?
they cut most of that out of the episode. She basically got on her knees to suggest the idea of...
Let's see, does anybody know what episode that was?
Yeah, it's 409.
No. 9. No. What's
410.
I don't know. But a lot of it was cut out. The thing
No,
that
the
you did.
position was subtle, and it was that.
Oh.
And it was directed by James Bam Bam Bam.
It was when I was trying to break up with you,
He was
right?
trying to break up, and I said,
Oh.
maybe I get on my knees, because I don't want to.
I try not to say
And
rude
the
words.
CW was a little nervous about that position. So they didn't show much of that position.
Yeah,
but that's the
which is
position
why they
we got.
might not
Exactly.
with respect, know what
No, it's on.
Wasn't that
And
three,
Paul was like, I'm
We're
really
having a
nervous.
tiff. I'm sorry. Happens every day. Every day. This is never going to work. She never listens.
Trust that, Paul.
Okay, put that right there.
I was nervous about that position, and I don't even work at the studio.
We've got an extra microphone now.
It's 409. You're absolutely
Can
right.
someone put the wireless back on the stand in case anybody wants to do an assistant?
Volunteers, can you put that back on?
Thank you,
There go.
volunteers. By the way, to the volunteers of Salt Lake City Comic Con,
Volunteers.
always amazing. And I forgot to say, mostly to you guys as well. I've been here every year we've done this, and the crowds are insane. I do a lot of these around the country, and this is by far my favorite
Yeah, I wanted
event.
to say a shout out and a thank you to Dan Farr. It's such a classy, fun event. And also, so many of the volunteers are in our armed services, and they're so impressive and so wonderful. And so we're really grateful for the work that you do. Really grateful. That's all.
Right.
So we have a question over here. Let's open up the floor. Hi.
Hi, darling, how are you? There's a lot of people here that don't know I'm British. Yes, I noticed that.
Who is your favorite villain in the show?
Oh, good question.
Shall I answer that first? Who's my favourite villain? Well, Lance has had a few odd moments, hasn't he, in the past? But he's not a villain, is he? He's just a bit misunderstood. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right when I did Stephen Saunders on 24, he was, trying to blow up the world. I was just like, it's just misunderstood, he's just trying to do the best he can in life. As they say, everybody in life is trying to do the best they can with the knowledge they've got. Woo. Anyway, favourite villain in the show? Oh, you know what? I mean, it's Damien Dark, isn't it? Working with Neil McDonough. He is something else. I always equate acting, similar to what we were talking about with Charlotte there. It's a bit like playing tennis. I'm a fairly dreadful tennis player, but if I play tennis with somebody that's better than me, suddenly you go, oh my God, I'm all of a sudden a much better tennis player. Do you know what I mean? And so you kind of hit the ball back, just someone else can raise your game, But to do that, you have to be watching the ball, right? And then you can raise the game. And the same with acting, like I said about the listening thing. It's amazing how many actors don't actually listen to each other. And when you are in the room with an actor that's listening to each other, it's a little bit like playing tennis when you got your eye on the ball. Suddenly, you get better. And it's a wonderful experience when you have that, because that's when all the little surprising things happen. things you were not rehearsing in your bedroom last night, much more interesting things than that. And with someone like Neil, you know, you don't know whatever you're going to get from him, so you just play off it and play off it and play off it. So he is one of my favourite villains. She's gone now, I've got no idea where she is anymore. Hi there, he's one of my favourite villains in the show, and also to work with as well, he's been magnificent. So maybe a round of applause for Neil McDonough, please, because he's wonderful.
Not to get too serious, but I mean, you're obviously not from America. And,
What do you mean?
But you're talking about actors being able to listen to each other and stuff like that. Because like I'm a Robert Altman guy at the end of the day and all that kind of stuff. And I like serious cinema. I like to ask actors, how do you feel about how necessary do you feel that training is?
Very.
Because I mean, we are in kind of a Kardashian age, and there are a lot of actors kind of getting roles that aren't really coming up through theater, or I mean, weren't you in Second City or the Fantastics or something like that? Or
I
like,
in Second City in Chicago.
I mean, that's no joke. Second
I think
City.
with any art form, you never know it all. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
You're
absolutely.
always learning.
It's a beauty of
You're
it,
always
right?
trying to get better. I mean, I've been working since, oh my God, for 30 years, and I'm always beating myself up. I'm always wishing I was better. I'm always striving to get it as best I can, and there's never one perfect right way. And you can spiral into depression if you beat yourself up and just know, like I had a breakthrough once in acting class and years ago, and my teacher said, how do you feel? And I said, I don't know. And he said, it's a feeling of queer divine dissatisfaction. And it's this weird quote that hangs out in my head because, you know, you always want to learn and grow and learn from the others that you work with as well. And it's the ones that are like, I got it, I know it all. Those kind of never keep growing, and those are the ones you got to watch out for. So, if anything, I've had to learn not to beat myself up so much and not be so hard on myself, and just know that if I could just do my best, that's all I can control.
And I'd assume that training actually helps you.
And I think that you should always keep learning and training, always, and always bettering yourself. As in any type of artistic form. Do you know what I mean? We always want to keep growing. And also, you know, in any vocation, there's always going to be no's, and artists in general are a little bit more sensitive as part of what lends itself to our art. And just so you know, to be able to work a lot, you're getting 90% of no's. So you have to try not to take that personally and move forward. So, you know, to any artist out there in any way, just believe in yourself and know that you're unique and do your best, and that's the best you can do, and that will take you ahead.
And do the work too.
Yeah.
It's all about time in the proverbial chair.
Can I just add something to that?
Absolutely, please.
It's interesting, you know, the acting thing, because you know, with a lot of these things, it's not so much what you're doing, but why you're doing what you're doing. And you know, if you're an actor, or rather if you're a person that just wants to do acting, because then you'll be the center of attention, or everybody will think you're fabulous, or you'll get famous, that's not going to lend itself to great acting. Do you know what I mean? It's if you want to be a great actor because you want to serve the art of storytelling, entertaining people, raising consciousness through story. I mean, story is how we learn. We've been doing it since we were cavemen. You know what I mean? We write stories on the side of a cave. Now we put them through television, film, whatever. And as an actor, all you're doing is serving the storyteller's process, you know, purpose of helping to tell that story that he wants to tell for whatever reasons. And so most importantly, it can't be about you as an actor. It's about you just doing your bit along the way, you know? And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't, you know? But you just go in there, and it's the ego. Acting's really terribly easy. You can just go and read Stanislavski, an actor prepares.
You know, where it's awesome is where it's like therapy. Like, for example, when you're dumping me in a scene, what do you think I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of when I've been dumped and how much that hurts and the surprise of it and all these things. And sometimes after those scenes, you're exhausted, but you feel like relieved, like you've been in therapy for 3 hours. Because you work through, you know, your own personal stuff. And I think that's one of the coolest things about acting.
I don't do the personal bit, actually. I mean, every actor has their different...
We have a different approach.
No. Every actor's got a much different approach. I never bring anything personal into it. I'm always like, create a whole character. If I bring me into it, it'll probably be a disaster, to be honest. But some people do that. But what I was going to...
It's a combination, but okay.
No. Yeah, I mean...
There's nothing personal in
our scenes that we would, okay.
No, for me it's the character. Look, do I look like a blue-collar guy that grew up as a cop in, in some weird dark city somewhere? I grew up in England in 3-bedroom, semi-detached houses with Tupperware parties going on around. It was dreadful, So I don't have much to bring to the party of comic book world, for me personally. So I have to create a full history of a character. So that's kind of like the easy bit in a sense, because you create a character, you put it to the story and work out what your function is and the purposes and objectives and actions and all the rest of it. That's the easy acting bit. But the bit that will mess it up is your ego as to why you're doing it. Like, oh my God, I hope it's going to be really good. If you sit there with that going on in your head, it ain't going to be really good. So that's the stuff that's the hardest bit to get out of the
Or
room.
how you
leave
look.
that
I
at the
can't
front
watch
door.
myself on TV anymore. It's just too much.
Can I add something very quick before we move on to the next question as well? There's a young lady I know who is an actress, and she wants to specialize in horror movies.
Oh.
And I talked to her, and she was asking me advice, and I said, you shouldn't have to just want to be in horror movies. I said, you need to want to do Streetcar Named Desire.
Why does she just want to do horror movies?
Well, see, that's why, and that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up in this room, is now that genre is so big, there's like this kind of specialized interest in it. Like, I want to be a scream queen, or I want to play a superhero, and a lot of people who have dreams of acting or even making films, are kind of looking at that before looking at becoming a storyteller first, which is what gives us great roles like Mama Smoke, is really knowing your craft.
Maybe she's a good screamer. I mean, I'm just wondering why you'd be drawn to just maybe she wants to scream to get her sadness out.
No, she's very talented too, though. But I'm just saying, that's why I wanted to bring up the training question, because I like to get that out there. It's like,
well, good,
it demystifies the process a little bit and brings it into the real world, because it is a job. And you don't set out to play Wonder Woman. You set out to play a great role. So anyway, I'm sorry.
But
it's a good point.
it is true to say that the ego thing is the biggest thing that gets in the way of being able to honestly and truthfully portray another character. If your ego and its psychology is raging away, how can you honestly and truthfully portray another character? You can't, right? That's when you look at the screen and you go, oh no, it wasn't very convincing. But when you sit there and you go, oh my God, look what that guy's going through, you're seeing truth, right? And a lot of that is just down to practice, and spending time on a stage in front of a camera. I started off years ago in musical theatre when I was a kid and all the rest of it. I did like TV commercials for years. And although I was doing all these cheesy TV commercials, I did. In the 90s, I was the guy in London. I was hated by all the young actors in London because I'd walk into these commercial castings.
How much coffee do you have today, baby?
And I'd get all these TV commercials, right? And I'd be like, sorry, I've got another one, sorry. But what they were was invaluable screen time to sort of, to get used to letting the ego go. Talking of ego, I am talking, sorry. Shut up, Blackthorne. Any questions? What about me?
Okay, so my question is, who do you think is a better fighter, Sarah Lance or Oliver Queen?
Can you say that again? I didn't understand.
Who do you think is a better fighter, Sarah Lance or Oliver Queen?
My daughter. Next question. I mean, Mr. Queen is, he's picking it up. He's getting there, for sure. He's getting better on the bow and arrow. I know. I'll accept that. But yeah, my daughter kicks ass.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Charlotte, as well, and my question...
That's nice, isn't it?
My question is, what characters have you guys really been able to relate to and been able to grow from?
Characters in what sense?
That you've portrayed in anything.
That you've been, relating to, been able to grow in. I'm sorry.
I shall allow you to talk, my dear.
Thank you, darling.
That's enough. You see our chemistry, it's wonderful, isn't it? I love Charlotte.
I can grow from any character. There's always something that you can grow from. I know for a while, I started in soaps, so I was really drawn towards like down and out, like homeless, drug addicted, people that have had a lot of problems.
That was just you, darling.
See, I'm walking into that. No, but I want to play things that scare me, that I don't know a lot about, that make me think about things I wouldn't normally think about, that are really challenging. And that's when you can find things out about yourself you didn't know. And there's sometimes with Mama Smoke, I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do that? Or how can I really make that real and believable. And so if you approach everything artistically, like, how can I grow from this? It's amazing how much you can grow. That's the best thing about being an artist, again, in any form. You can always grow and challenge yourself. And I think we always want to grow and challenge ourselves every day, right, Paul?
Oh yeah.
Does the ego want to grow?
Let's talk about the ego. That's all I can talk about.
Question. Charlotte, I like your name.
Next question.
I won't answer that one then.
My question is, what's your favorite memory with working with John on set?
You do that, Charlotte.
Behrman?
Yeah. I think
No, you go ahead and do that. I haven't worked with him that much, actually. I've just seen him in the trailer, which is funny. There's a lot going on there. Charlie, I know you have a lot of stories.
I've got, there was something funny one.
There's a lot going on there.
Like what?
Well, so you know he's really funny and subtle. I'm sure you guys know a lot of great stories about him, so... Especially if you've seen him in a panel, right?
Yeah.
I think I saw a picture of a photo op and he had his ass out.
Yeah.
There was like Steven and Katie, and then there was just, what? And I was like, what is that?
And somehow it's amazing.
Somehow it's a surprise. Here's a typical JB text exchange. I released one of my t-shirts, the poach eggs, or the keep talking which poach eggs, not elephants. Thank you, darling. Oh, look out for Save the Rhino Vietnam. That one's coming in May. I'm going off to Vietnam, but to talk about all that. But in the meantime, back to Barrowman.
We are going to get into that before we're done.
Okay, wonderful. So I said to John, thanks, mate, for reposting the campaign and all the rest of it on his various bits and pieces. And I said, yeah, just email. Yeah, thanks so much, mate. Really appreciate it. I guess we might be in the same episode one of these days, because we always tend to be in opposite episodes. I don't know if you've noticed that, but we rarely get screen time together, or even the same episode time together. And I said, well, if so, see you then. To which he replies, I hope so. I want to do a scene with you with my balls out. Everyone else has experienced them. Smiley face, JB. John Barrowman, ladies and gentlemen. And the truth of the matter is that, yeah, that's what he did next time we saw each other. Not really.
Well, on that note about John Berman's balls being out, next question.
My question's for Paul. I was a huge fan of the Dresden Files, and I was just wondering if you ever had a chance to play the role again, would you?
If I had the chance to play the role again,
Of Harry Dresden.
would I?
Yeah.
Yes. That'd be lovely. That was a real treat doing that show. That was a lot of fun.
They should do movies, like one-off movies of that.
Yeah. Would I be a bit too old? I'm a bit old now. I suppose wizards could be any age, really.
You're not too old.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too old. Yes, of course I am.
You're a sexy beast.
Ooh! Sexy beast.
He is.
That's
He
a great
messes with
film.
him and Barrowman both mess with the Kinsey scale with me somehow. Next question.
If they do a Dresden Files movie and they won't let you be Dresden, who would you want to be?
Next question. I don't know. Who would it be?
Who else could he be?
Gentleman Johnny.
That's nice. Sorry?
Gentleman Johnny.
Who? Who's Ebenezer? Sorry, I'm not very good at things. Oh, okay. Anybody else? Someone else answer the question. Who would it be? If it wasn't me. Okay. I have a lot of cultural holes. I don't really know a lot about modern culture, to be honest.
The name suits you, Nicodemus, though. If you ever change your name, Nicodemus would suit you.
I'll do that next time. Next life.
Next question, please.
Not to be on the same page, but for Paul, actually, when it comes to the Dresden Files, two-part question. Have you read any of the books?
No.
No? And then do you know why they switched to the hockey stick?
No. Well, that was easy. I didn't read in the book when I was offered the role. It's an interesting thing with all that with scripts and books. You can sit and plow through the books for hours and days on end, or you can sit there, plow through the script, create the story of the character yourself, just try and find the truth of the character for yourself. Obviously, talking with the producers and the writer about all being on the same page with that, but I would sort of shorthand my way to that as opposed to reading books and books and books. I'm just a really slow reader as well. I'd still be reading the books now if I'd chosen that approach, and it'd be a bit too late.
Well, I'd like to say that I've read every single book, and there's no...
That's all you wanted to say today, wasn't it? He's read every single book. He's read every single Dresden Files book.
I was going to say,
Oh, that's awful. Thank you, sir. Well, thanks for watching the show when it was on for 5 minutes.
This young lady right here.
Oh, post it, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Post it. Post it.
It's really unattractive.
No, he won't get mad.
And it's all about looking attractive, ladies and gentlemen.
See us in the makeup.
You can do what you want with it. Yeah, I was there for hours. My flowing locks. Yeah.
This wonderfully patient young lady right here.
Oh no, you're good. My name's Emily, and my favorite character is Felicity. I think she's just the best character that's...
You're not alone.
What?
We can't tell.
Oh, I just love her. I think she's fabulous. So I just was wondering, the two of you have worked a lot with Felicity, obviously being her mom, and then Felicity and Lance have such a fun relationship. What's like your guys' favorite scene you've done with Emily?
That's so funny.
Because it's
I mean, I love Emily. From the moment I met her, I was just really just so blessed and grateful because we have a natural chemistry. She's a beautiful, beautiful person. We're both big animal lovers and big animal activists. We both have that in common as well. And I thought you were going like that to me. Okay.
No.
I'm all paranoid.
Sitting patiently
And
there.
she's, as you know, a really, really talented, wonderful actress. She also doesn't take herself too seriously, and sometimes I'm like this on set, I'm beating myself up, and she's like, hey, relax. I was like, why are you half my age, and you have so much wisdom, and she's just such a beautiful, I could go on and on. So we've had a lot of fun scenes where we're just laughing and laughing afterwards, but it's also some of my favorite scenes are when we pour our hearts out to each other, and I really feel protective of her, and I want to know how her love life is in real life, and I want to like look out for her. I think her career is going to be on the trajectory and is never going to stop. I think she's got a big future ahead of her, and we get excited to have scenes together every time. And we text each other these funny pictures of dogs.
I was going to say dogs.
We're big.
Dogs.
No, as I said, we're big in animals. We follow a lot of these dogs on Instagram and things, and there's some of these dogs that have 2, 4, 6 million followers. And one of my favorites, you guys, I don't know if you know this, is this rescue dog named Tuna. Have you ever seen? Tuna has an overbite, a natural overbite.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll text each other these random things and things like that. So I haven't seen her in 2 weeks, and I miss her, and I'm excited to work with her again next week.
I want to take a couple of minutes now. That gives me a nice segue, and please be
A year or
patient.
so ago, this whole situation that's, my friend Michael is calling me. But I won't take the call just now.
Focus.
Focus! It came to my attention a year or so ago, actually about 2 years ago, that, the state of this situation with the poaching that's going on in Africa with elephants and rhinos. 100 elephants are being poached each day. They're having hand grenades thrown at them to kill them. They're being gunned down with AK-47s, and whether they're dead or alive, they're having their faces chainsawed off so as to get to the tusks. And that's what's happening. And the same thing is going on with rhinos. They will disable the rhino as best they can. It doesn't have to be dead, but as soon as they've disabled it, they will then chainsaw off its face and leave it to die in the bush in that state. Sorry for any young people that are with us today, but that is the reality and the horror of the situation. And the current rate of all this killing, 10 years' time, both these species, hello gorgeous, how are you? Both these species will be extinct. I've been working, and I tell you what, this is where Facebook gets really, really good, because a year ago when I did the first Poach Eggs Not Elephants campaign, I thought, okay, well let's do something here, and what should we do? And then I went, Facebook, what do you think about all this? Any ideas of slogans or something that we could put on the t-shirt? And somebody on Facebook came up with Poach Eggs Not Elephants. I went, that's fantastic, thank you so much. And put the t-shirt designs out there, and everybody got involved, and then I said, which charity? And I got involved with a charity called Air Shepherd, who work on the ground in South Africa with drones and military-grade computers with predictive analysis to work out where the poachers are. So we've raised $100,000 for those guys with the t-shirts to help with the drones flying, because where the drones fly, the poaching stops. So the more we do of that, the better. And then, of course, the rhino thing happened. We did the Keep Rhinos Horny t-shirts. God bless them. And then in the throes of all that, I discovered that 90% of rhino horn that is poached from the last 25,000 rhinos left on the planet, 90% of it ends up in Vietnam, which is a strange fact, isn't it? And for various cultural reasons, that is what's going on. Now, we love Vietnam, beautiful country, but obviously that issue is something we'd like to address. So I got in contact with Save the Rhino International and with their partners on the ground, Education Nature Vietnam. And I'm going to Vietnam in May for 2 weeks with them. We're doing press, media, television, we're doing schools, universities. We're going to post the hell out of it on social media. We're going to make a little short film afterwards.
He's going to go undercover.
I'm going undercover. Well, don't say it now because they'll not know about it. And CW are getting right behind it. They're going to support it in huge ways with all their social media. And we're going to go out there and just try and tell these people, guys, you're getting conned. This stuff is, the rhino horn is the same thing as your fingernails. It will not make you, you know, Superman in bed. It will not cure the after effects of chemotherapy, and it will not cure your hangover. So let's stop doing this, please. So that campaign and a new t-shirt will be happening in May. So any support such as yours would be much appreciated. Thank you very much.
And also, go to Paul's website. He's an amazing photographer as well, so check out his stuff.
Thank you very much.
Renaissance man.
Enjoy all this.
And now, I know Charlotte's.
Well, you mentioned, I don't want to badmouth the Kardashians, but it's a pet peeve of mine when you have a vocal platform, you don't use it to bring good or awareness to causes. So one of my dreams was to become known just so I could bring awareness to a lot of things, and one of which is how many healthy dogs and cats we put down in our local county and city shelters. We put down about 9,000 a day, and they're not, there's a lot of purebreds, there's a lot of really healthy, young, adoptable animals. And so, you know what I did when I flew here to Salt Lake City? I first went to the Best Friends Animal adoption. Yeah, they're so awesome. Their headquarters is in Kanab, Utah, which is so beautiful. And they are on the forefront of making the United States a no-kill nation, which any animal lover wants and dreams of, right? Nobody wants to put down these animals. So I'm aligned with a lot of organizations, but Best Friends is just such an amazing organization. So Salt Lake City is so awesome. You know, these older dogs are killed a higher amount, obviously. And there was a 17-year-old dog at the Salt Lake City Best Friends. And Salt Lake City News put him on the morning show. When I was there taking pictures, a woman came in and adopted the 17-year-old. I was so happy. And then I took a picture with this other dog, this really cute dog, and put it on social media. And yesterday I heard that that dog was adopted as well. So anytime we can do anything, it's really beneficial. And I believe very highly in volunteering, 1 hour a week. Just petting them or bringing like a dog bed so they're not cold and lonely can be the difference. When you walk by and you know they're cold and they're really scared, and if they're just loved for like an hour, it can raise their chances of being adopted.
Charlotte, if I asked you really nicely, would you adopt a rhino? They're very cuddly. You've got a really big house and a great yard.
I've been to Africa and they are majestic, and that anybody would kill them is absolutely disgusting. And I also went and spoke on Capitol Hill about releasing chimps from testing labs. So I think what you're doing is extraordinary, and you should be commended for it. And I wish you luck in Thailand and
Vietnam.
Sorry, Vietnam. It's so strange that they do.
They're next door to each other. It's okay.
But this is. But anyway, any time that we can raise awareness to help our county and local shelters to help. Actually, you know what? You guys should be proud of yourself here in Utah. You're one of the few states that has a no-kill for dogs across the board. And that is, you don't have that in Los Angeles.
Can I just add to this?
You don't have that in LA.
This is, you know, we're really fortunate people to be on a television show, to be employed. It's a hit show, and people that are interested in what we do and what we're interested in and all the rest of it. And, you know, obviously as Stephen does, as Emily's doing, everybody, a lot of us do in this position, you know, it is wonderful. I'm sure all you would be doing the same thing, you know? Yeah. If you're in a position to really sort of shine a light on something, it's actually one of the really wonderful benefits of finding yourself in this really fortunate position. So, and of course it happens with the support of you guys. So thank you all for supporting the things that we're all into. So thank you.
We are super pressed for time, so if there's one last quick question.
I can tell you the answer to that. Somebody.
What's your question, sweetheart?
Have you ever been pranked by anyone on set?
No, I hate a prank question. Sorry. No, it's just John Barrowman with his balls out. How much more of a prank do you want? Crikey. Would you like that? Have you been pranked?
I don't think I've pranked you yet.
Maybe one more question.
What should I do to Paul?
I think you've already done it, darling.
What the heck are you talking about?
We can't talk about that. Anyway, take one more question. My God, there's a TV screen with things on it.
One last question, because I don't see the volunteers shooing me off stage yet. You, sir.
My question is, the one scene that everybody's talking about, season 4, episode 1 of Arrow, where Barry and Oliver are standing in front of a tombstone. Yeah. And everybody's wondering, everybody's saying that it might be one of you two. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, that's good television, isn't it? Fair play to the writers. That's one of the best things ever. It's like, talk about get the audience guessing, you know, that's brilliant. So, but I do know who's in the grave. It's, as I said, it's somebody.
We just got the buzzer. The boxing bell just rang. We could do another hour so easily now. I'm just warming up.
Thank you. Television shows are nothing without